The lead investigator in the Oscar Pistorious case has been removed, and get this, because he's being accused of murder himself. Now, we're joined by our power panel of lawyers, who happen to look like Charlie's Angels, if I might add, to help us understand this complex case a little better. Civil trial attorney Sezen Oygar and Anna Young, former deputy district attorney and current defense attorney. Welcome both to Primetime.
Thanks, Taylor.
I love this. See, and one thing that you guys have in common with Pistorius' model girlfriend is that she
is a law school graduate
and a beautiful, smart,
gorgeous,
woman.
beautiful.
Gorgeous. Such a shame that she's no longer with us.
It really is.
Okay, so may the battle begin. Let's start with Anna and why you would defend the Blade Runner.
All right. Well, as a criminal defense attorney, obviously my duty and my job is to make sure that he has the best defense that we can possibly give him. And right now we don't know all the facts yet just because it's still the bail review hearing. We haven't heard of all of the facts that the prosecution has. But what we have heard, and based upon the recent revelations about the lead investigator, there are some major blows that have been dealt to the prosecution. And specifically what I'm referring to is Hilton Botha, the lead investigator. That's his name.
Who's been charged with murder.
Charged with attempted murder. And this is something that recently came about. And so
Botched Botha.
Botched Botha. That might be something that the defense talks about. And the reason why it's so important, Taylor, is because that goes with his credibility. It's very important for the lead investigator, the investigating officer, to have a credible voice for the prosecution, because that person is responsible for collecting the evidence, that person is responsible for preparing the reports, and basically providing this to the prosecutor and saying, listen, these are the reasons why I believe that we can prove that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
No, he's been charged. Right, but has he been convicted of this crime?
No, he's been charged.
So that's different. We don't want to judge this guy because he hasn't been formally
convicted. Right. But this cloud surrounding him is going to affect how the defense cross-examines him and how the defense approaches the case. Because think Mark Furman, think about O.J. Simpson and how everyone was so appalled by Mark Furman's integrity and the potential. And
there is no jury, right? There's no jury.
No, it's just a judge.
It's different here. We're going to go to Sezen, and you're going to tell us why no way in heck does this guy have a case and he should be in the slammer.
I mean, the defense literally doesn't have a leg to stand on here. There's, you know, so what, the investigator, he's got somewhat of a sketchy past, but all you really need to know here is, A, he admitted to killing her, and B, they have a past here. There's been several instances where the police have actually come to the apartment based off of fights with these two.
Verbal fights or abusive physical fights?
I believe it's verbal. Okay. What we do know is that there were neighbors who actually heard them fighting before. Right now, he's on bail and he submitted an affidavit to try to come out and post bond. Within his affidavit, he's having already some discrepancies here.
Like what?
So what he's saying in his affidavit is he woke up in the middle of the night, went to the balcony to bring a fan inside. During that period of time, he heard some strange noises. He goes back into the house, grabs his gun, goes to the restroom. Okay, the bathroom door is locked.
Yeah.
What he's saying here, and this is where the inconsistency comes. Later on, he says, with 2020, you know, hindsight's always 2020. He says the point in time where he went to the balcony to get the fan, he thinks that his girlfriend got up and went to the bathroom. Well, he already went back after he went to the balcony to get the fan. He then went back to get the gun. Shouldn't he have realized that his girlfriend wasn't in the bed?
And number one, I have to ask, I'm going to interject here, okay? Because let's pretend that I'm a jury member, even though there won't be a jury member. But why would the girlfriend in the middle of the night go to the bathroom and lock the door? What's the reason for locking the door, Anna?
Well, we don't know because unfortunately she's not here to say anything of that nature.
Oh, she's not?
She's not.
But I
have an argument for that. So what I'm saying is that she had an empty bladder. Her autopsy reports indicate that she had an empty bladder, which at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's inconsistent with someone who typically would not have an empty bladder at the time, which of course is consistent with what Oscar says in his affidavit. Now another point is that Sezen said there were alleged domestic violence disturbances, but if you interview any of her family members or her friends, no one is coming out and saying, you know what? She came out and said, you know, Oscar, he's been treating me poorly. There's no record of her having bruised eyes or scratches on her hands or anything like that. There's no indication, and I've been doing criminal defense for a while now, and usually in domestic violence cases, there's usually some physical manifestations to substantiate that there was a past of domestic violence.
However, when someone's, like, I do television, right, and there is makeup, and if she's a model, she's been in front of the camera, there would be ways to hide that.
Right, there would be ways to hide it,
Absolutely.
but conceivably with her family members, she's not in front of a camera. During that time, she's talking to her family members, and whether she's full makeup or not, based upon the pictures I've seen, of course I've only seen editorial types of pictures, but whether she has makeup or not, no one is coming out and saying that she ever complained about Oscar Pistorious having an anger management problem.
Let's go back to the fact that she did have an empty bladder and he shot through the door. Talk about that, and then let's interject the banned steroids that were found.
With the empty bladder thing, all the prosecution is going to have to do is put a medical expert on the stand, and a little lesson in morbidity. Unfortunately, when somebody passes away, the muscles relax.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I learned in med school. Like, you lose everything.
Yeah, and the bladder and the bowel will, as gross as it is, you know, it will release itself. So the fact that she had an empty bladder, that doesn't say, it's not going to hold muster, I don't think. You know, with them saying that there was, you know, testosterone and steroids found within the house, it does look like later now some inconsistencies have come through, and it's actually some sort of a herbal supplement for sexual performance. You know, that's going to open up probably a little bit of a can of worms, but it still goes back to.
But does it have side effects? Because I had a doctor on talking about roid rage and how it can actually make the people taking it bipolar. It can make them have psychosis. It can have like extreme
adverse side effects.
Side effects depending on the personal chemistry makeup.
It's certainly, I mean, it's certainly possible, and that will be, you know, somewhat helpful for the defense, but all that's going to do here is make this either premeditated or justifiable killing. There's no way that this is going to be a case where he's going to get, you know, scotch-free, I don't think. He went to the bathroom, the door was locked. At the first gun, I believe there was 4 shots here. At the first shot, any woman who hears a gunshot's gonna scream, right? Shouldn't he have recognized that that was his girlfriend's voice in the bathroom and stopped at that point?
Yeah, but we're also talking about someone who got awoken.
Pants at that point.
he got awakened. he got awakened in the middle of the night, and we're talking about someone who's paranoid, startled, and I believe I read up reports where he was almost paranoid about this. He thought that there were intruders in the past.
Because he was taking that sexual enhancement stuff. He probably never went to
Perhaps
sleep.
that was something. And might I add, he was tested by the anti-dope agency, and there was no indication that he was taking testosterone. So that's another thing that the officer, that Hilton Botha man was saying, because he said, you know what, we found steroids and testosterone, but he didn't have anything to substantiate that. And when the defense attorney cross-examined him about it, he admitted, he said, yes, you're right, I don't have anything to substantiate that, and there's nothing that I've said that could be inconsistent with what Oscar Pistorious is saying. And that's a big blow to the prosecution. If your main guy is saying, you know what you're saying makes sense too, we're talking about beyond a reasonable doubt. That's the standard in South Africa.
Before we go into, I want to know what you think happened, I want to know what you think happened, but before we go into that, let's explain to the viewers how a case is tried in South Africa.
Right, so what's going to happen right now is that he's in front of the magistrate for the bail review. And right now the issue is, does he stay in custody or does he stay out? And that's what they're fighting for. So we are supposed to find out tomorrow whether the magistrate's going to say, okay, I'll let you out. The prosecution, of course, is saying he is a flight risk, he is this international athlete, this huge star. He is the Blade Runner with so many assets. Whereas the defense is saying, no, he's willing to give up his passport, South Africa is his home, this is where he was raised, he's not going anywhere, he has properties here, he has family here. So that's what's going on right now. Eventually it's going to get to a point that if it does go to trial, then it will be in front of a magistrate and not a jury. But it's still the same burden of proof.
But what the judge is going to do, he's really just going to look at the case and it's going to be, do I believe him or not? Did he really think that there was a burglar in a very well protected and very nice neighborhood?
Tell us your opinion of what happened that night. You know, I know it's just your, you know, hypothetically.
It's somewhat a speculation, but, you know, looking at his affidavit and, you know, looking through the facts of the case, I think that there was somewhat of, you know, a lover's quarrel at some point in the night. No woman in the middle of the night is going to get up and lock herself in the bathroom if she's not terrified, I think. So I think at some point there was a fight, she locks herself in, he shoots, and it was a tragic tragic outcome.
There was rumors of him being jealous. What do you think, Anna?
Well, I think that based upon the affidavit and what I've read is that he legitimately thought that there was an intruder in the house. Now, it's too early to speculate all the facts because the facts that we have are based upon an investigating officer who's now being accused
Look
of
at her. She's got, we're going to dismiss this based on botched investigation. But let's talk about what do you think. Just give us like your theory of what happened that
I
night.
think what he's saying is that he thought there was an intruder in the house because he's paranoid. He's talked about it before. He's gone to the shooting ranges before because he's so paranoid about intruders. I think he got woken up in the middle of the night. He legitimately thought there was an intruder, and he freaked out. I think he shot, went trigger happy, and then he finds out that his girlfriend is in the bathroom. I think that his affidavit talks about facts that substantiate his arguments. Now, there's obviously going to be inconsistencies and consistencies like any case. Yeah. Every case always has inconsistencies.
It's very traumatic.
It is, but
has he shown any remorse?
He has. Okay. He's sobbing uncontrollably. He's
who was his first call? It wasn't the police. He called his estate administrator.
Oh, come on. I don't know. It's a crazy story.
Yeah. And
stay tuned as it develops.
We'll find out,
as the case, we get more facts, we'll have you guys back on our power panel of attorney. I love it. We're just getting warmed up.
That's
love
right.
the girls on the set.
Let's get started.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for having me.
I got to add real quick, my floor director, Christian, says the guy, Pistorious, if you did kill him, he should get double homicide because she was so hot.
She was so hot.
Gorgeous,
beautiful woman.
Beautiful
smart,
woman.
Such a shame.